Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us. I know it has been a while since we had our last meeting. I think that was in December, so a really long time ago. But it is important that we kind of, touch base again, go over opportunities. Sorry for any background noise that you might hear. But yeah, we're going to go over, first off, refresh kind of how to submit hours. There was a way for you to submit hours for January. We did send that out, but I am going to go over those instructions again. I do want to bring your attention to a supply drive that's going to be appearing in our future, talking about kind of getting your reflection, kind of your experience with the club through a couple of different opportunities, and then end with some attendance. So a pretty light day, but again, important stuff for us to cover. So first, let's kind of recap submitting hours. There have been kind of looking at the submissions, a little bit of issues. So I just want to recover those instructions so we know that everybody's following what they need to be doing. So hours are going to be due tomorrow. I know typically they're due at, by the end of today's meeting, but because it's been a while since we've had a meeting, I figured we'd push it to tomorrow. The way to access and submit those hours are the same as they've always been. You're going to go to bit.ly/YPC_hours. That link will also be posted on our website. Fill out the form even if you have 0 hours. That's our way to make sure that you are still active and participating in this club, and you just didn't sign up at the beginning of the year and you're not participating anymore. And then if you could submit that by February 3rd, that's tomorrow at 4:30, that would be great. That's when the submissions are going to be ending. So make sure that you get underneath that, get on top of that. All right, I do see a question in the chat. I'm just going to peep at it real fast. Just kidding, it won't let me see that. Okay, totally fine. So this is something that I need to stress again, is kind of that explanation piece. And especially for my community house mentors that are now inputting their information, it's also important that you pay attention to this as well. Please don't forget to include the individual time spent on your activity. So that's really important as well, because when you're verifying your hours or your times for nights in action, we need to have an accurate count of what you've been spending your time on, how you've been volunteering. We also need the number of students you've helped. So if you are a teaching assistant, how many students have you interacted with? How did you help them? If you just worked with your teacher to, grade papers or help them organize something, totally fine as well. But we do need you to clarify that number of students for us. If you're a community house mentor, just be sure to, it's one student that you're working with. So be sure to include that. And then obviously an explanation of what you did. This, again, really should not be like, I worked with the person, or I helped them out, or I answered a question. You kind of have to be a lot more comprehensive than that, especially because we're not getting signatures this year. You guys need to be a lot clearer on that. And please don't forget that enter button. I know it's super easy to forget, but don't, because it makes our lives so much easier when you do. So please follow these instructions, take a picture of it. All these slides and recordings will be available on our website after the meeting. So if you get confused or you forget, come back and reference this. But again, please do not forget it, okay? I just want to stress that one more time, especially for my community house mentors. And then an added note about my community house mentors, that reflection piece that we have you do in your tracker, that is something that can be used for your hour submissions. Obviously, you might have to edit it a little bit, maybe make it a little bit more concise, but that is something that you can use for your hour submissions as well, to make your lives a little bit easier. All right. And I do want to stress this. Because there's so many of you, we are going to take the side of, if you don't have, either your numbers right or your explanation isn't, it is non-existent, then your hours aren't going to be able to be confirmed. Just going on the side of safety here. Please don't, contact us asking if everything that you did is okay. We're not going to ignore your confirmation if you didn't have proper capitalization on your sentence or whatever. But just following those steps that we've provided in this slide will ensure that your hours are counted in the most accurate way possible. So again, please be sure to look at those instructions. Don't kind of just take them for granted, actually do them. All right. So let's talk about the next thing, which is our community house supply drive. So as far as specifics go, there hasn't been a lot hammered out just because we need to work with community house's schedule as well. But I do want you guys to start collecting new or unused school supplies that you might have laying around at home. A lot of middle school students are in need of supplies like folders or binders or notebook paper or pencils because it's really hard to stay organized, as I'm sure we're all learning at home, and giving middle schoolers kind of the supplies that they need to be successful would make a big difference. So just start collecting those. We don't really have a drop off time set up yet, but do know that the drop off location will be Community House Middle School, which is, again, if you don't know, right across from AK. There will be service hours given to you, kind of similar to the ICC Camp Drive. We will kind of be, the officers and I will kind of decide what numbers that will look like and how we're going to be counting them, but do know that that will be a way for you to earn service hours if you're having trouble gaining those hours, which is understandable. So again, start thinking about new and unused supplies. We will tell you the drop-off dates, windows, and times, all of that good stuff, and we'll provide you with more concrete instructions as things get solidified. But please just start looking for that and being aware of that opportunity. Okay. So then let's talk about YPC Insights and testimonials. If this might seem like deja vu because we talked about it about like the second meeting and then just didn't touch it again. It is still a thing. I promise. The only reason is that we wanted to wait for Community House to kind of get back into the speed of things before we retouch this subject. But since we are back at Community House, there are a couple of things I want to talk to you all about. So first, if you've forgotten completely, which is understandable, October was a long time ago, YPC Insights is an opportunity for you guys to share your personal experience with the club, right? Ways that you've helped teachers, ways that you've interacted with students. And it's more important than ever, especially as we're looking towards the future. There's a lot of unknowns. We really want to see how you're taking advantage of young professors and the opportunity to work with teachers. And I'll clarify for my community house mentors, there's an added thing that I need to mention, but I'll get to that. So all you're going to do is go to bit.ly/YPC_insights. Based on the lack of response from last time, we can tell that there's a bit of an incentive that's needed. So there will be service hours available. There's kind of an opportunity there to share your experience with the club, because I think that's really where we can all benefit. It doesn't just matter if you're kind of reflecting on your experience in a Google form. It would really benefit all of us if you kind of share that experience with us. So you will get service hours if we contact you and you agree to sharing during one of our club meetings. So that link is going to be available on our website. I do have to, put those links in there, but that will be due before February 15th. So that's when you're going to be submitting kind of your reflection, how you've learned, how you've grown through young professors. So just have that in your mind. Again, February 15th, I'll also send out reminders on Remind for y'all. And then for my community house mentors, this is something specific to you guys. So this is something you guys don't have to submit the YPC Insights. You can also do this reflection. So again, the purpose of this, it might seem kind of weird, like, why are we asking you to do this? As we're looking to kind of look at other ways to branch out to other schools, it's great to have kind of testimonials and your experience in this program. So having your written reflection, and then if you're able to, having a video testimonial of kind of like, we'll give you more directions as things progress. But the general gist of this is so you can kind of share your experience, how working with the younger student, guiding them, mentoring them has helped you, and how you've seen that growth in them. Because we want to give you more time to interact with your students, I know it's only been 3 sessions. It is going to be due on February 20th. If all of these due dates are kind of flooding together, don't worry. I'll send out reminds. But again, it is a way for you to share your experience and to kind of get recognition for that as well. Service hours, again, will be granted. And then if you go to that link, bit.ly/CHMS_reflection, that is how you will be able to, get to submit your experience. And how how this program has impacted you. There are more details and everything on that Google Forms, but that is just something I want you guys to be aware of. All right, next for attendance. So that was the general gist of information. I think before we get into attendance, I do want to